The Bruins thrash the Carolina Hurricanes 6-2 in game number 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm Mike Petraglia, joined by Evan Marinofsky. Evan, the Bruins took the hits from the Carolina Hurricanes in the opening 20 minutes of this game, and they responded with 2 goals of their own. It was really never a contest. The Bruins get 2 goals from Matt Grzelcyk, one of which was in the first period after he took a massive hit from Michael Furland, the guy who delivered a blow to the Bruins in the regular season on Johansson. But it was the Bruins really, I think, putting their money where their mouth is, putting the goals in the back of the net and really handing it to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's funny is when the Hurricanes came out hitting everybody in sight, Grzelcyk got wrecked. My first thought was, what are they doing? Why would you come out like this? The Jackets tried to do it, never worked. The Bruins, when the physicality ramps up, they're so good at ramping it right back up. And Grzelcyk even said after the game, he was like, it didn't phase us. You can't phase us by trying to out-hit us because we do that. That's our game. We know how to face it. And I mean, nothing was more prevalent of that than Grzelcyk coming back 2 shifts later and scoring, and then scoring another goal later in the game. But that hit really almost helped the Bruins a lot more than it hurt them.
Definitely galvanized the Bruins. A couple of Bruins after the game in the dressing room said they felt so happy for Matt Grzelcyk, who scored along with Connor Clifton. The Connor Clifton goal was interesting because he became the 19th member of the Bruins to score in the Stanley Cup playoffs, tying a franchise record set by the '88 Bruins. And that team, of course, lost to the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. But really a testament to how diversified and how deep this roster is.
They are so deep. And the funny thing is, I mean, Don Sweeney has to be absolutely thrilled right now. Marcus Johansson, Charlie Coyle feel like they're a part of every Bruins goal that's scored. The defenseman scoring, Grzelcyk, as you said, Clifton, Kampfer last game. I mean, they don't even necessarily need these top line guys to be scoring because the bottom are doing so well. And I think another testament this is to in the playoffs, the top 2 lines usually kind of cancel each other out. And Bruce Cassidy said that going into the Toronto series. Mm-hmm. And that's been so obvious in this series because the first 2 lines have canceled themselves out. So then it comes down to, okay, how are your 3rd and 4th lines? And right now the Bruins are crushing the Hurricanes when they have the Coyle line on the ice, when they have the Corrali line on the ice, because the Hurricanes are getting no scoring chances. The Bruins are cycling the puck at will, and it's showing on the scoreboard, and that shows in the depth, as you said.
This Garden Report on Ice brought to you by the great folks at betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/win. Use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% cashback bonus on your first deposit. After the game, it was Charlie McAvoy saying, today, game number 2, Sunday afternoon at TD Garden, we stayed true to our culture. We stayed true to who we are as a team. What do you think that means?
I think it means that they don't get, as I said earlier, they don't get fazed by physicality. And I think they play as a team. Even that first few minutes, the Hurricanes looked like the better team. They really did. And they came out hard. They came out fast. And just as we've seen all year, the Bruins are a resilient bunch. They're very resilient. Another thing I think he means, and as we said before, it's the depth. It's the depth aspect of it. It's anybody can score at any given time, no matter the time. And I think that's what McAvoy's sort of alluding to. And again, going back to the resiliency aspect, they're just so resilient. Nothing phases this team, Trags. Nothing phased them in this game at all. And so I think that's what McAvoy means.
And the other thing I'd like to point out in this game is the togetherness. It was Danton Heinen scoring the 5th goal of the game and taking a vicious hit from Dougie Hamilton behind the net afterwards. And Torrey Krug came immediately to Danton Heinen's defense and really stood up for him in front of Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, that was so pointless what Dougie Hamilton did. I mean, this Garden crowd was chanting Dougie at him from literally 5 seconds into the game.
No question.
And they were under his skin. I mean, as we all know, Dougie's marshmallow soft, as Mike Milbury called Marcus Johansson. No, it's Dougie Hamilton who's marshmallow soft.
Mentally, it's not about the physicality in this series that the Carolina Hurricanes are playing soft. It's the mental aspect.
It is, and he hits Heinen like that, clearly from behind. Everyone on Twitter's even like, the NHL needs to take a look at it, and I agree. I mean, he comes up from behind Heinen and just throws him into the glass, and Torrey Krug comes over and goes, I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. Get out of the club. And just throws him to the side.
A Rob Gronkowski move. I got to tell you, though, if Dougie Dougie Hamilton doesn't get the stick up high near Heinen's head, I don't think it's such a big deal. You bump into him behind the net, no big deal. It's raising the stick up around the neck.
Yeah, and you could tell there was intent. I mean, I'd probably feel the same way if I was Dougie. He was mad. He was, really just angered at this whole game. And Krug just went over and said, no thanks. Bergeron was right there as well. Heinen just got up and was like, I'm so glad I finally scored. But it was a testament to how, no matter the situation, the Bruins stick up for themselves. Anybody can do anything. And I think that's sort of been the mantra with this team the whole year.
As we look to game number 3, Tuesday night, as the series shifts down to North Carolina, the Bruins are going to look to weather the storm, so to speak, in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the first period. And Tuukka Rask said something to me after the game that I thought was very interesting, very telling. We're not going to try to weather the storm. We're going to try to be the storm.
Well, as I said to you before this, as hurricanes move up the East Coast, they weaken. And that's sort of what happened today. It's what has been happening in the series, and Tuukka's right. And Bruce Cassidy said it in the last series. They try to be the storm. They never try to be the ones reacting. They're the ones to be reacted to. And in this game, I mean, that was just the whole time. I mean, the Hurricanes had no response for anything the Bruins did. And I don't see how the Hurricanes are going to be able to pull this series out, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you, Evan. I just don't see it at this point, the way the two teams are playing, barring any type of injury. The Bruins certainly look like, for all the world, they're headed to the Stanley Cup Finals, but they do have 2 more wins to take care of and put in the bank against Carolina before we can say that officially. Matt Grzelcyk with 2 goals here on Sunday afternoon in game number 2. The Bruins hammer the Carolina Hurricanes 6-2, take a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Follow us on Twitter at Bruins CLNS, and of course online at clnsmedia.com. For Evan Marinofsky, I'm Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.